You're live. Yay.
Woo! Hello.
And we're recording now.
We are recording. Oh.
Yeah.
We tried a new color grade. See that? For some reason, it just did not turn out correct.
Yeah. We're also... something... Oh, my phone.
Why is your phone not silent? Alright. Well, while he's trying to figure out all the technical stuff. Hi! Welcome to the Odd Unicorn Podcast. I am excited to be here. But my name is Sadis. And this is Andrew, the professional nitpicker and guy who makes sure I don't mess up everything. Eh?
Yeah, and you need to...
I know what it is.
Wow.
Focus. I didn't get focus.
That makes more sense.
Come on at the camera. Hey. No, not there. Stop. Okay.
What the? No, there. Maybe.
Wait.
Ah.
Now you're in focus.
Yay.
Nice and sharp here. I'm gonna switch this thing back to the thing.
Cool.
Oh, it never switched to the other thing. Better?
Yeah? Yeah.
Alright. After those camera troubles. Yeah, it never switched over to the other one I wanted to try. This looks way better.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
We have a very interesting topic, actually. So we've talked about the Imp and Skiz podcast. I love that podcast.
For those... Okay, real quick. For those of you who can't understand what we're saying, it's Imp, like IMP, and Skiz, S-K-I-Z-Z. I had somebody ask me recently, what are you guys saying when you're talking about that podcast?
What is the Imp and Skiz?
Imp and Skiz. Imp and Skiz podcast. I like the Imp and Skiz podcast.
Yeah, I like the Imp and Skiz. It's my favorite brothers. Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Anyway, Imp and Skiz podcast.
Yep,
two
it's
Minecraft YouTubers.
Yep. That's how they got famous, doing Minecraft.
Yeah.
One of them's doing it full time. The other guy is doing social media while also doing a corporate job, which is
He works from home.
He works from home. That actually makes a lot of sense. I didn't gather that. But yeah, it's two guys with a ton of experience, and they did a podcast. It was, I think, the most recent one I listened to. I'm quite a bit behind.
Mm-hmm.
It was just talking about asking for help and how difficult that can be, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to not necessarily rip off their content, but also kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we have something to offer, something to add to it. Not that we have more experience than them, but we're Christians.
Yes.
So we have a perspective that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're planning on talking about. But first, Andrew, how's the week been?
It's been really good, but it's also been very tiring. So, okay, Thursday night, I went to bed at a decent time.
Okay, yeah.
Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night, I did not. Monday night, of those nights, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday was the first time I went to bed before midnight.
Oh, no. And you worked Monday.
And today.
Oh, no.
Yes, yeah, so I was very tired.
Oof.
But
yeah.
It was really fun, too, because Friday was our tournament.
Yep.
Saturday...
If you didn't catch that, it's still up on the channel.
Yeah. Saturday, we had a family gathering.
Oh, yep.
Sunday was church, but I preached for church Sunday afternoon, and that's why I stayed up so late Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
then Sunday we stayed up late because you were over and we watched a movie.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah, no, that was 100% my fault.
Not really though. Because my aunt and uncle stopped by. Remember?
That's right.
Yeah,
so they would have stopped by anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily blaming them, but they didn't leave till 10. Oh no.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It was
fun.
It was fun having
It was
them
a lot of
over
fun.
and talking. Yeah.
Why was I even over there?
We were taking down the stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
taking down your mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that's how my week has been. Besides,
That's how my
besides-
week been.
work has been a little tough.
Uh-huh.
We've been on 9-hour days, except for Fridays, this 8-hour day.
Andrew, you have a hair hanging from your beard. It
Cool.
looks like a cat hair.
Probably is.
It very, very much looks like a cat hair.
Probably is.
I saw this, I think it was a sweater. It was either, no, I think it was a bumper sticker. This girl, I was dashing in Appleton, and I was heading over to Fox Valley, and there was a girl with a Prius, and it said in the back something that never occurred to me, but it's just like, why? It says, cat hair is just glitter for cool people. And I
No.
thought to myself,
No, it is not.
everything about that sentence is wrong.
Cat hair, glitter on people. No.
Wrong. No. Cat hair, bad. Glitter, bad. Cool people, bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
So it's that's not what I think about when I see cat hair. Glitter for cool people.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I accidentally
Anyway.
followed her in.
Oh,
We're just heading to the same place.
cool. Did you tell her she was wrong?
I kind of wanted to,
That would have been funny.
but she went the opposite way, so it would have been weird to intentionally follow her just to tell her.
Hey! Your
Hey.
bumper sticker's wrong!
You don't know me, but I have a lot of opinions on cat hair.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure she would have listened intently.
Oh, no.
No?
I have no idea, actually. I don't know her.
You don't? Really?
Yeah.
Really? I thought you guys were like buds.
Yeah.
Just going golfing on Friday nights or
I
whatever.
don't golf. How about you? How's your week? Pretty much the same, I'd guess.
Kinda.
Except your
Yeah.
work is different other than that.
Yeah, I have second shift work.
Yeah.
Which, that's why I was at... No. Yesterday was Monday. Sunday night, I
Was at my house.
was at your house. That was fun.
Yeah.
I watched the Mario movie for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could give it a 10.
Yeah.
But it's like 8.5 out of 10
At least.
would recommend. And I'm saying that in comparison to like 10 out of 10 being Kung Fu Panda. So giving that an 8.5 is being generous.
It's not called the Mario movie, is it? It's called
The Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, that's what.
Yes.
Anyway.
They vary between the art style and the thematic elements, just the right amount of Easter eggs while also having a story.
Mm-hmm. It was very good. And for somebody who's not into
Yeah,
Smash
for
Brothers
you.
lore, and almost knowing none of the actual history.
You're not Nintendo fanboy like me.
Yeah, I definitely it was a great movie.
It was great. It was
I
great.
watched it twice, Saturday night and then Sunday night.
I'm gonna watch it at least twice.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And then I started on color grading the short film that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I already got all of scene 1 and scene 2 color graded. Only 6 more to go.
Yay.
So it's color grading every single shot in the scene. Which, I mean, admittedly, half of it is copy and pasting, but then there's separate light for each and every scene.
Oh, fun.
So you create a rough template by getting the first scene perfect. Then you copy all those to the next scene, and then you're like, they don't look the same. And so you just like back and forth, and you just change this. That looks horrible. And you have to scrap it, start over.
I can actually understand that
Yeah.
from a sound point
Yeah,
of view.
it's like sound.
It's like just I've had to do that for church. Take a equalizer, paste it into a different microphone, and then adjust it to sound right.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
It's hilarious though, because between takes in the same building, you go one to the other, all manual controls, and it's different.
Yeah.
The camera gurus will understand my pain.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they will. But anyway, to our topic, I think.
Yeah, because camera gurus are too small of a niche. You cannot make a living on that unless you own a Nikon Z9.
Yeah.
So instead of that, let's talk about asking for help.
Oh, yeah.
Which I found myself having to do often.
You should explain what you mean by asking for help.
Yeah. So it's a big thing. It's because anyone can ask for a hand, you know. Even though, I mean, sometimes even that's hard.
Hmm.
But the big thing is there is certain people, and especially people like me. So there's people like me where I like helping people. And because of that, I don't want to burden them with my problems. And that leads to me not asking for help.
Hmm.
And then there's people like you, and you can explain yourself.
I would say I'm very similar actually.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy helping people.
Yep.
And when people don't ask for help when they need it, I'm just like, ask for help. But I don't.
Yeah.
I just
I know it's the weirdest thing.
I don't know that I'm necessarily like, oh, I don't want to burden them. More of, I think it's probably more of a pride factor.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need
I
help.
can do this.
Mostly because there's very many things that I can just do.
Yeah.
It's very easy. So sometimes I forget, but most of the time it's just, I don't need help. I can do this. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. And usually, the one thing I found is with that mentality, usually people end up figuring it out.
Mm.
But it takes like 3 times as long as about half as good.
Yeah. Yep.
You know? So it's like, it's a little trade-off.
Yeah.
And so basically we want to cover why it's important to ask for help and how to ask for help. Because if you're not asking for help, then you're going to miss something, and you're gonna, well, it's just gonna be a lot harder in life. Like, I'll take one example. At 19, I already have an example of this very easily. It's this channel.
Mm-hmm.
I started trying to do it by myself.
Yeah.
It was just a solo venture, and I'd tried it before, different stuff, you know, trying to do my Instagram photography account by myself. And it just was so hard to just keep going. And I realized it's because I'm social. It's the same reason that I'm not going to stream anymore unless I'm streaming, game streaming.
Mm-hmm.
With gaming, I'm only going to... I have a bunch of streams in my second channel. But none of them are good. And there's a very specific reason. It's because when I'm by myself, I'm just... I only have this energy and this exuberance when I'm around other people.
Yeah.
And so, like when I'm with, we set up a stream with me and Joy and Victoria. Or I don't know if I streamed it. Yeah, I did stream it. And then me, Joy, Victoria, and Joseph doing 4v4v4 Bed Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Now that time, I got absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just, we had a whole lot of fun. We almost beat them, except for the fact that every single person except for Joseph died by falling off the map. Not being hit by anyone, just falling off the map. And if you would like to watch our failure, you can go to Odd Unicorn TV. There's a lot of weird content on there. So, other than that, Yeah, so because of that, I realized I need to have help.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is I got a lot of really good ideas, but no clue how to make them happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the second I started involving Joy and then involving you and Ruth, started going off the ground.
Yeah.
Because we had more minds, more people to go, that's probably not going to work. Or we should try this, you know? And I had visions and you actually know how to execute them, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
It works so much better when I was finally able to be like, yeah, I guess I can't do this on my own. Okay, Andrew, can you help me?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I should have thought about it more, but I can't right off the bat think of anything that, like, I should have asked for help, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I know there's stuff. I know there's examples, but
There
blanking
was
on-
that one time where even though you knew your body hates it when you push yourself too hard, you had me just like steering the car while you pushed it to the gas station. I'm thinking to myself, I can push.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, so...
I mean, thankfully you didn't have a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So when I get overexerted, lack of oxygen and whatnot, it's hard to breathe, my heart's pounding, whatever. But we were on our way to visit family in Michigan,
Yep.
your brother, and okay, well, we're almost out of gas, so I need to stop and get gas. Well, I don't remember what.
We went to one place and it was super sketchy.
Yeah, it was really weird. So, no. So, finally, okay, we'll go back to the other one we saw, because the place we went was supposed to be cheaper.
Yeah, but it was so sketchy. It's like, there's a reason it's cheaper.
Yeah, so, okay, we'll go back. Well, so the issue was there's a stop sign, and then cross the intersection. Now, cross traffic did not have a stop sign. It was us. So we had a stop sign, cross traffic did not. So what we had to do is cross the intersection and just past that, turn into the gas station.
Yeah.
Well, we got to the stop sign and the car died. Because
Yeah.
it ran out of gas.
It was like, oh no.
Yeah. So I was already a bit stressed out, and I don't handle well under stress.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, wow, Silas, steer, I'll push. And so I'm pushing. I finally got, like, okay, it's clear. I start pushing. Got a little over halfway across, and I'm just dying.
Yeah. I'm looking back. I'm like, dude, what are you gonna die in front of me?
So we ended up stopping traffic.
Yep.
There's a few cars coming. So after the middle line, a few cars, they stopped. One guy got out. He helped me push it the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And then, continue on as usual. But yeah, that's definitely a time we should have. Thinking back about it, what we should have done is both pushed, and then because I'm experienced already at steering through the window while pushing a vehicle.
Yeah, well, see, the second time that car broke down, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so that's definitely a time I should have been like, yeah, no, I know I know this won't work, so let's switch.
Yeah.
But I also wasn't thinking too straight at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's this. I feel like that's both sides of the coin. You need to make sure, if times where people don't want to accept help is either when they're just like, no, I'll just do it myself. I've seen that a lot, actually. Especially with people that are like go-getters. People that normally can do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They are like, sometimes like, frustratingly so unwilling to ask for help.
Uh-huh.
it's because they are legitimately, smart, talented, hardworking, whatever, and they're like, I shouldn't need help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, maybe not, but if you do, you do.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you have to. I think half of it is you gotta just put your pride aside and ask for help.
Yeah, there's been times, I think for me, one of the major things that I have problems with is realizing that I need help. Sometimes I'm going through a situation and I don't even realize it's a situation. I don't even realize it's a situation. I'm just like, it's life. I'll keep going. That's one of my biggest things is I don't realize this is a situation. I should get some help because it would make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like when I was mid-teens, mid to late teens, some of that. During a few years, probably a good 5 or 6 years of my life. I don't know for sure, but I would have maybe not every month, but almost every month. I'd have a good week where I was just depressed for no reason.
Yep.
I still don't know why. Anyway, yeah, and that's just during the situation, I was like, I'm just cranky, so I just need to, just be quiet. I'll get over it. I'm just cranky. But then looking back, I was like, no, that was legit depression.
Yeah.
I still don't know why I was depressed, nor do I care because I don't get depressed anymore like that.
But that was something where you probably should have, talked to someone, say, hey, sometimes I feel off and I don't know why,
Yeah, I did actually talk to my mom.
Okay.
And but I came at it from the point. Well, no, I guess I did realize I told her, I was like, I just get depressed for I don't know why, and I don't remember what she said. You know what? No, I think she kind of did say, just tough it out. It'll be fine. But she was right. Because she's like, well, why are you depressed? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you don't have a reason to be depressed, just get through it. You'll be fine. And I was. It was, I had no reason to be depressed, so I stopped being depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, so that actually, it does make sense. It was probably, just teenage stuff. Because when your brain is developing, you're just like, have no clue what's going on. And so I would say there is sometimes, the world likes to say that you need to find a solution to everything. But sometimes it's just like, just wait out the storm, cling on to the nearest pole so you don't fly away, and eventually it'll be over.
Yeah.
And there legitimately is times where that's just all you can do. But the biggest thing is, you need to start by asking for help. And like you said, first figure out there's a situation. And the biggest thing is, and the hardest thing, and I feel like the time when it's most important to get help, but also the time when you are least likely to, is when you're scared to.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a situation where, either one, it's dangerous. If it is dangerous, there is no reason to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you or someone else is in danger, then hiding it can never make the situation better. Even though sometimes you convince yourself that if I just don't say anything, it'll just all go away.
Mm-hmm.
It won't, because whoever decided to do this or be this person or, whatever the situation is, danger just gets worse.
Yeah.
Things that are bad just get worse.
And about that, to put even kind of zero in a little bit more.
Yeah.
If it's a situation where somebody is like is causing danger of some sort, but they are saying, don't say anything about this or else. The interesting situation is, or the interesting thing about that is, in those situations, people often feel like if I really want to do something because this is a bad situation.
Yep.
There's danger involved, but if I do, the or else, whatever that is. But what they don't realize and is about that if you do actually go get help, whoever the reason the person is telling you don't say anything or else is because they know that if you do say something, you are going to as long as you're going to the right people, you will they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
They can threaten, and the threat is scary, and so you don't do anything because of the threat, but when you go to the right people, that threat is nothing more than a threat.
Exactly. That's a big thing. Like, and that goes back to some of the other topics we've had about having good godly friends and being careful who you're around, because if you are around the right people, then you could tell someone and they won't rat you out for any reason, and they'll understand the situation, and you will actually get help, because there's no reason to put up with a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to be in somewhere or in something that is unhealthy or bad for you. And one, I would say, from what I've seen, and I want to bring this up even though it's really niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would go as far as to say there's a good amount of our audience that probably isn't dealing with this. But it's such a big problem in the world in general that there's a high chance that one person is dealing with it, which is relationships that are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Bad relationships, no matter what it is, whether it's a toxic friendship, toxic romantic relationship, and sometimes even people in your family that are just terrible and manipulative, especially when they're manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest time to get help, because you feel like no one will understand and they'll only judge you.
Yeah.
Because that other person puts on a fake, puts on a fraud. And so if someone doesn't know them at all or doesn't know you at all, they'd assume nothing's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I've found that more often than not, if you actually do start asking for help and making friends outside of that tiny sphere of influence that's controlling you, everyone actually does understand.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a lie that you tell yourself that no one understands or no one will, there's really nothing to fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like someone who's threatening you with physical violence, people that are emotionally manipulative, they only have control over you as long as you think they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as you emotionally rely on someone else, they can't toy with you anymore. Mm-hmm. Once you start mentally relying on someone else, they can't toy with you anymore. So if you can find a good friend to actually confide in and talk with, that will help you so much more. That's one of those situations you don't just wait out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
Because it's someone who intentionally wants to cause you harm. There's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that you need help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's my situation that I was talking about with the depression and stuff is different because of that. There wasn't
Correct.
a reason.
Exactly.
Someone just waited out. you're growing.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
growing, your hormones are out of whack, and that's
I
Yeah.
think actually thinking about it now, probably one of the biggest things is just, um, besides my sisters, there wasn't a lot of people my age.
yeah,
So I kind of grew up fast.
yeah,
And so because I grew up fast,
yeah,
air quotes around that, I always kind of felt older, felt more mature, but I also felt the responsibility of being older. And so,
yeah,
so that I felt all that weight. I think that's probably what the biggest thing was.
yeah,
And yeah, and I think I was about 16 when I finally realized, I'm like, wait, why why am I doing this? I'm like, I'm only 16, man. And so cuz I one of the biggest things I had what deal with is I would walk up to, like, maybe my dad was talking to somebody or whatever, and they're having a very serious conversation. Excuse me. And I have a tendency to not be noticed.
mm,
And so I walked up and they just kept talking. And I also understand, there's certain things you don't talk about with everybody around you and stuff like that.
yeah,
And so they knew that they could trust me around their serious topic. So they
Yeah.
just kept going, and there was, that was fine. And there was also during that time, my dad was dealing with a lot of stuff with the church. My
Yeah.
dad's a pastor, in case anyone didn't know. Dealing with a lot of stuff with the church and stuff, and so being able to handle those conversations and stuff, made it so he had another person he could talk it out to. I didn't really talk with, but to.
yeah, yeah.
And it was easier for him to talk through stuff like that, and so I'm glad that for that, and I was able to help him and everything. But I think it was about 16, about 16 years old, something like that. I realized this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, by that time, I had, there was more people in the church that Dad was able to rely on and stuff like that, and I was realizing all that, and like, okay, yeah, I'm done. So I walk up, the adults are talking about something serious, I turned and walked away, and just
Yeah.
tried a lot more to hang out with people my age.
Yeah.
Take the time as a younger kid to just be like, I'm not gonna care about the responsibilities
Yeah.
of life.
Allow
because
yourself
I don't need to.
to be dumb for a little bit.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I hear all the time adults talking about, oh, kids these days, or kids are so dumb, or why can't they just learn to grow up? I think it's important for kids to have a childhood.
Yes. Very much.
And
So.
I've seen it over and over where you can tell if a kid's had a childhood or not.
Yes.
And and it's not that I have anything against people who didn't. Some people just had a situation where they had to step up, or they just didn't have any kids their age.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, it's important to have a childhood.
Yes. And it's not necessarily the parents' fault, but it kind of is. And it in a good way though. Because parents, especially our parents, from the good old days, or
Yeah.
they had this rocky path of life that they had to deal with, and so for their kids, for us, they look back and they see, they can see some of the stuff we'll have to deal with as we grow older. So being the protective parent, they're like, I'm gonna try to clear this up for them so they can go through life without having to deal with a lot of these issues. But when we do that as older people for younger people, or when parents do that, now as kids we had nothing to deal with, nothing to handle.
Yeah.
Now adults, and bam, there it all is. Because at that point, we can't
Yeah.
really rely on our parents anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was actually, now that I think about it, that was actually kind of 2 generations ago. So here's what had happened. So the generation before millennials is the ones that had to deal with stuff and realized, hey, I can kind of clear this up for my kids.
Yep.
The millennials are the ones that had a clear life, clear childhood, and then hit adulthood and ran into that stuff. And now they don't know how to raise their own kids, how to deal with life.
And I feel like, because, okay, as much as the youngest generation is always played up to be the most spoiled, rotten, entitled, basically everything that we see in ourselves, we project to everyone that's younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
So Gen Z with, shortest attention span, which is true, and there's a lot of stuff about it that's true. But I feel like Gen Z has a chance of being the next boomer, just with our own agendas.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're absolutely correct. Boomers had to, pick themselves up by their bootstraps. That was just after the Great Depression, just after World War II. That's when they all came on the scene. America was rebuilding, and it was the whole idea of if you want to eat, you have to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that whole concept of you work for a living, and you got all the money that you work, you got money. That money could immediately be spent, and you could live. The amount of money he had was directly proportional to your quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, with inflation and debt and insurance companies and all this stuff, your quality of life, it's almost, the scale used to be like this. It was like money, quality of life. Now it's like money, quality of life. And then you go way over here, and then you get that much money, and then it spikes again.
Yeah. The quality of life has the potential to be much higher than our income.
Yeah.
We can, because of credit,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the ability to live way over our income. And so that's, I think this is actually something I was thinking about, not this specifically, but a little bit ago. I'll get back to that in a second. I think what the biggest issue with just people in general, not any age group specifically, but just people in general, is that we forget to adapt. Essentially, we have, like, life changes. We have to change with it, but instead of changing with it, we just kind of that's what it is. So here we go. Instead of going along with it, changing with it, we're kind of just letting ourselves being dragged along. It's like, life's changing, I guess I'm changing with it because it's pulling me.
Yeah.
That's one of our biggest, probably one of the biggest issues along these lines.
Oh, yeah?
Which I was kind of thinking about that earlier because of, on the topic of communication.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many ways to communicate so much faster.
What?
I want to talk about that on a different podcast.
Did we do communication yet?
We did something along the lines, but I want to do it again.
Yeah.
More.
There's a lot of this that we could easily rehash.
Yes.
But
anyway, back to our topic.
And that's just a big thing. And so even asking for help seems different.
Yeah.
But actually in a good way.
Yeah.
That's one thing that, like, and to stereotype a whole generation, that's one thing Gen Z has done better. Is now they haven't come up with a solution, but they've realized they have a problem,
Yes.
which is interesting because it people in Gen Z are actually a lot more open to even the gospel.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it's because Gen Z finally is realizing, because there was ever since the 1890s, America was this absolutely patriotic, we're fighting for our country, we're gonna win this, we're gonna do this. And then there was no wars, and we realized that we just were united against a common enemy. And then everybody started just going at each other's throat. And now people don't even know, that now that people are starting to realize the problems within.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Gen Z is one of the first times people start realizing they have a problem.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have to remember is that we have to learn to deal with different problems in a different way.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they're the same problems, but the same problems are now presented in a different way, so we have to learn to deal with them differently.
Yeah. Different packages need different tools to open. It's the same thing inside, but it's a different package.
Because, like, for example, asking for help. That's our topic for this episode. Well, back, even... what year are we in?
2023.
Yeah, so even
20
years ago, asking for help was a lot different. Because your circle was a lot smaller. That was...
Yeah, it was whoever you could find on AOL.
Yeah.
Which had just come out, and it was revolutionary.
Yeah, but there was so many different things. Like, one of the reasons people were a lot more self-sufficient. They're able to handle things for themselves because their group of acquaintances was a lot smaller. There's a lot less people to depend on.
Yeah.
That's why communities, small towns, back in even the early 2000s, it was a lot more of a small town vibe. Everybody knew everybody. Nowadays,
even
I
in a
don't
tiny
hardly
town,
know my neighbors.
no one knows each other.
I've been living in that house for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I've essentially never met the one neighbor. No, I've pretty much never met my neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, I have said hi, hey, I'm Andrew. I'm your neighbor.
It's like, congratulations.
Yay.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because there's not nearly the amount of community. The closest I ever got to that was Florence. Florence was like maybe it's the last town that still has a little remnant of that small town vibe.
It's a little different the further south you go.
That's absolutely true.
When you get into the down south areas of the country, you get a lot more of the everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, and everyone's into everyone's business.
Yeah, so it's not completely lost on the whole country.
Yeah, but on the north,
especially up here in the north, yes,
it's like, it was. In fact, that was a huge culture shock going from. Well, it was weird. They're simultaneously more friendly and less friendly in Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Florence, everyone liked each other. Everyone knew each other. Everyone said hi. Everyone asked how they're doing. So everyone was friendly. But here, people want to be friends.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think around here we have more of a community pride. pride in our community. Our community holds each other up. It's there's a lot more of that type of setting in
rather
this
than
area.
like a church picnic vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more like, cheering for your sports team because they're
Yeah, Coleman
your home
is the
team.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. That's more what this
Yeah, that's
area
fair.
is.
But it was
Yeah.
it was hilarious, and it could have just been a coincidence because I was, getting older, becoming a teenager. But the kids in Florence would hardly ever talk to me, and it's like fair. I'm a weird homeschool kid who's doing the paper route.
Uh-huh.
Why would you? I go to Coleman, and the first year I got invited to 2 dances, a party, and the fair, and that was by 3 different people.
Mm-hmm.
They invited me to these things, and I went to a football game that I was invited to,
Yeah.
where there was a bunch of people that knew me. One person that knew me that I didn't even know, which I was like, he's like, "Hi, I'm Silas." He's like, "Oh," and she goes, "Oh, hi." And then another person who I also didn't know, she goes, "No, that's the Silas." She's like, "What? You're the Silas?" I was like, "Yes." She goes, "I rescind my handshake." I'm like, "Wait, what?" That's a story for another day. But
Oh, that's hilarious.
it was so weird. I'm like, I don't know you, and you already don't like me? What's going on here? And the funniest part was, it was a complete misunderstanding. It was a gossip train.
That's awesome.
I got caught in a gossip train at a public school, and I'm a homeschooler.
And you'd only lived in the area for, what, a year?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
yeah. No,
That's
less
great.
than that.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 6 months. And I got caught up in a gossip train involving multiple people. I didn't have any friends, and then multiple people started talking about me. I was like, "Yee."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Welcome to Coleman.
Thank you. Get bad mouthed in the first year I'm here. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, so there's so many differences. Life changes so much, and we're not realizing it, or not necessarily not realizing it, but not changing with it.
Yeah.
And so, asking for help, and you're like, I've got this situation. Again, pride in the community. That's our area here that we live in. A lot of people aren't going to ask for help because, well, I can do this myself. This is my contribution to our community.
Yeah.
Why should I ask for help? Yeah. So there's.
And so, basically, if you need help, well, first of all, like you said, you need to figure out that you need help.
Yes.
That's the first thing. You have to admit to yourself as well. Admit you need help. Okay, if there's something, even if you think you could get it eventually, if it's like you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it?
Your life could be so much better because you could get over this faster. You could be happier,
Yeah.
and you could move on with your life.
And then, if you're scared to ask for help, just remember, just know that there's a ton of people that actually want to help you.
Mm.
Like me, I love helping people. There's been multiple people in the past that have been able to help, and it really brings me joy.
Something actually kind of about that. Other
Yeah.
people that want to help you. Also remember, just because your situation that you're dealing with is a big deal to you, people around you might not realize you're dealing with this situation.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I've had to learn is, like, you gotta ask for help, and some people are like, wow, I didn't even realize you were dealing with that, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, it was such a big deal in my life. I'm like, can't everybody around me see? Because I know there's people around me that want to help me in my life, but they just didn't even realize I was dealing with something.
Yeah.
And so just when you realize you have a situation, then realize, okay, I need help. Then ask somebody, because don't just assume they're going to help you. I mean, you can kind of assume some people will help you because you know that they're a person who likes to help. But you gotta ask them because they might not realize you
Yeah.
need help with something.
Well, I mean, take me for an example. I love helping people, but I'm very oblivious.
Yes.
So if I notice that something's off, then I'll ask about it. But a lot of times I just don't notice.
I'm kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm not oblivious. I notice when somebody's needing help. More often than not, I'm not going to say anything because I'm waiting for them to ask.
Huh. You know what you should do? Anytime you notice, you tell me, and then I'll ask them. It's a wonderful cycle.
Something like that. Yeah, it's very often I can see somebody not only needs help with something, but they want help with something, but they're not asking for help with that
Yeah.
something.
And I think if it's superficial, then yeah, let them struggle until they just swallow their pride.
Yes, there are good
Yeah.
point. There are things that you're like, okay, I gotta step in and be like, hey, I need to help you with this.
Well, and especially if it's more serious, where you're like, there could be something seriously wrong. You're right. If it's like they're trying to lift something super heavy, and they won't ask for help, even though they really need it and want it. Yeah, sure, let them struggle. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm waiting. I can help you.
Yes.
But if it's like someone's really hurting, especially if you think they could be scared to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in that situation, and it really is scary sometimes. You want help, but you're afraid because of something in the situation. Maybe a person or a situation has power over you, and you're just afraid that if you tell someone, then everything's gonna crumble.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like you're on a house of cards. But if you tell someone, then that gets you off of that house of cards and gets you onto something solid.
Yeah.
And so, if that's you, if you're just scared, then you need to understand there is quite literally nothing but good that can come from asking the right people for help.
Yeah.
Finding someone you can trust, someone who you know cares about you regardless of what you do. That's a big thing. Is someone who it doesn't matter what you do or how you perform. They just care about you as a person.
Yeah.
It's one of the most valuable things ever.
And if you maybe don't have people like that, or you're not sure how to find people like that, we've got 4 episodes on choosing friends, something like that.
Yeah, choosing friends, making friends, being friendly, getting along, and choosing friends.
Yeah. So go back and listen to those.
Yeah, they'll help you.
Yeah.
And so,
Anyway,
if you need help,
ask.
please. You will be literally so surprised by the amount of people that are just waiting to help you.
Mm-hmm.
That want to help you. That just would love to help you. So don't think you're being a burden to anyone, even if you think your problem is smaller than other people's. It's a big thing I have problems with. Well, yeah, I'm struggling with something, but they seem to be struggling with something much worse. And at the end of the day, maybe, but that doesn't mean yours doesn't exist.
Yes.
I guess I'll close it out with a quote that I think I created it, but I like it a lot. It's, your problems are no bigger than anyone else's, but also everyone else's problems are no bigger than yours.
Mm.
So don't think that you're, extreme victim. Woe is me. I'm the only one with issues. But also, everyone deals with problems.
Yeah.
Everyone deals with problems, and to you, this is probably the hardest thing you've dealt with. So treat it like a real problem. Don't just brush it under the rug.
Yeah.
And that's something that's huge, and that will help a lot. In fact, in that podcast that I got this inspiration from, he told a story of a guy who was doing rough, really bad. Just I don't know what, he didn't go into detail, of course, whether it was depression or just something dark in his life. And this guy, he asked him, he's like, hey, what is going on? And he kept asking and asking. The guy, no, I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'm good. And eventually, it was like 10 minutes of talking to this guy. And he didn't talk about it. He didn't talk through it. And eventually, he was just, nearly embarrassed. Like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just leave him alone. Hopefully, he does okay. And that guy, a month later, took his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not worth not burdening someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, that would be the worst thing in the world. And everyone, there is definitely someone in your life that would break their heart, and they would absolutely rather you cry on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they'd really like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Suck up your pride and overcome your fear so that we can, I guess, heal. You know? Finally be able to have some balance in our life.
Yeah.
All right. So, after that sort of depressing note, I'm glad we have a last segment to kind of round us out.
Yeah, that episode went long.
It went.
Yeah, it's almost an hour
wow.
already.
Well, check that out.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, sorry. Yep.
Last segment. Andrew,
Silas.
what you been grateful for? What's been making you happy?
Let's see here. Well, one thing I was grateful for is the fact that when studying for something
Mm-hmm.
and what you want to say?
Yeah, well, Mrs. Navis says, what? Ask for help. I don't know if I can do that, or there is sometimes you don't want to bother others, so you just try to tough it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we all are walking through something. So yeah, no, that's legitimate, and like we said, you have to suck it up and bother people.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so let's see. Grateful
very,
for.
very grateful for.
Is okay. So my dad asked me to preach. He texted me like a month ago, actually.
Okay, yep.
He's like, "Hey, can you preach?" And he actually said, what day was it? The day you preached was the day he originally asked me. So the 28th of May.
Well, that's because he was originally gonna have me preach the day that Nate preached.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, sure, I can do that. I had an idea for it. And then he texted me a week or two, maybe like a week before that. And he's like, hey, can I move you out to the 4th, June 4th? So this last Sunday. I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah, and so then I forgot to study anything until it's Saturday.
Admission of guilt.
The day before. It's we went to a family gathering.
Yep.
We went to the family gathering. We were there till like 5 or something. I don't remember. And I was like, okay, I need to go home. I need to study. Well, we got home. Aaron was staying the weekend, and so he was here. And then he bought that the Smash Brothers.
Oh, yep.
Movie, Super Mario Smash Bros. Movie, whatever. And so yeah, we watched that. So I didn't start studying till like 9:30 or something, 9:30, something like that. So what I'm grateful for is that God has given me a brain that I can study and I can get things quickly.
Oh, that's good.
Because I finished studying at midnight, something like that. So,
3 hours.
2.5, 3 hours later, I was done.
Wow. Yeah, see.
And I had started. That wasn't even the topic I was originally thinking about. Something completely different that I didn't even look at until I started studying.
Yeah, see, for me, it took me a little longer. It was like 5 hours.
Yeah.
No, it was like 7 or 8. Though it's weird, the way I do things, my brain is weird. And so, half the time when I'm studying or editing or anything where it requires focus, I'd say like a quarter of the time is getting distracted. The first quarter is getting distracted. And my brain, and I can't not do that. Which is why if I'm going to study or edit, it has to be for a long stretch of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the first little bit is just getting distracted over and over and over and over and over. And then coming back to it over and over and over. And eventually my brain just goes, I switch into full
Yeah.
manic mode.
Sometimes I'm like that, but most of the time I can just dive right in and go. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I was grateful for that, the ability to just dive in and go, get it done.
Yeah.
But then what made me happy this week, Friday, we did our tournament.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. It was
That was so much
hectic
fun.
getting set up.
Yes.
And a few things are like, okay, I gotta do this better next time.
Yeah. Also, I think next year I probably will just be the host.
Yeah.
As long as we can have enough people.
Yeah, as long as there are enough people. Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. And then
I got second. If I wouldn't have listened to Ben, I would have gotten first.
yeah. Don't listen to the blind guy.
Don't listen to the blind guy when you're doing something where hand-to-eye coordination is key.
He's really good at video games, actually.
Actually, he is, yeah.
But whatever. That was a lot of fun. Saturday was fun. Hang out. That was my dad's side of the family. So his siblings, his parents, all the grandkids. That's the first time we've gotten together since before I got married.
Wow.
So I don't even know how long it's been. So that was fun. Sunday, I was happy that my sermon turned out well.
Wait, was everyone not there that one time that there was a family reunion and I was there by accident? Me and Joe were there?
I don't know.
Wait, I don't think you were there. I think it was just me, Joe, and Ruth that went.
I don't know, bro.
Continue.
And then today, actually, Ruth and I went on kind of a mini date after work and before the podcast, and so yeah, that's what's been making me happy.
Man,
Well, then there was another thing.
Oh my
And
goodness!
I told
You were
Ruth,
just bursting with joy.
I told Ruth, I was like, that makes me happy. I can't say what it was, but it did. It made me happy. It was funny. It's something. It's not inappropriate.
More like an
but it's
inside
just
joke-ish.
yeah, kind of something.
Yeah. So, for me, what made me happy this week? I'm trying to think. Well, I guess really the highlight was definitely the Smash Brothers tournament. Friday night, that was... Oh, that was so much fun. I'd been looking forward to it. I've been thinking about what I was doing. And there were technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And we weren't able to monitor audio because it was being annoying.
That
That was frustrating. But other than that, it was a lot of fun.
yes.
And then you also streamed an after party, which seemed also fascinating. I played the longest game of Catan in the history of the world.
That was ridiculously long. Yes, it was so long.
And then me and Austin chit-chatted well. Aaron and Ruth chit-chatted.
Well, let's get a little
Oh, yeah,
little
context.
context for that. we were all sitting there talking
We're all sitting there talking, yeah.
until 3 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed. So I went to bed,
Yeah.
and then you and Austin talked while Aaron and Ruth talked, and you
Until 4:30.
yeah, you went to sleep at 4:30. I think Austin just laid down at that point too, and then Ruth and Aaron talked more. I woke up when Ruth came to bed at 6 in the morning. I was like, Ruth, we have to get up in a few hours and go to a family gathering. But it was awesome.
Oh man, yeah, it was a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
Austin's weird. Oh, it's a whole lot of fun, and week was good. Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back next week, with another podcast.
Yep.
I'm editing a short film, and unless something goes south, I'm going to be posting it to this channel so that you guys will be able to watch it as well. So that will probably be coming in August sometime. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe. I want subscribers.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you guys next